Did you know that there's a country where an American dollar is worth less than a roll of toilet paper? Shocking, isn't it? As we traverse the globe in 2024, there are certain places where an American passport might not be the golden ticket you'd expect. From economic disparities to political tensions, we're about to embark on a journey through a countdown of countries where an American presence might stir an unexpected pot. Stay tuned as we reveal the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcomed in 2024. Starting our countdown at number 10, we have Venezuela. This South American nation has been experiencing a period of intense political and economic turmoil for quite some time. The country's inflation rates are through the roof, and the value of the local currency has plummeted drastically. For Americans, this means that the dollar you're used to wielding with such authority back home might not get you very far in Venezuela. In fact, the economic situation is so severe that basic commodities are often in short supply. The political landscape isn't much better, with increasing tensions and instability making it a risky destination for any foreign traveler, let alone Americans. While the scenic beauty of Venezuela is undeniable, the current state of affairs makes it a tough place to navigate and enjoy. So if you're an American, you might want to think twice before booking that flight to Venezuela. At number 9, we have North Korea. Now, there's a country that's been a hotbed of controversy for years. Being one of the most secretive nations on Earth, North Korea has had a long-standing, strained diplomatic relationship with the United States. The tension between the two countries is palpable, and it's not just in the political arena. For starters, the U.S. Department of State has imposed stringent travel restrictions on Americans intending to visit North Korea. This decision was primarily driven by safety concerns, given the unpredictable nature of the North Korean regime. North Korea's government has been known to detain U.S. citizens without any clear cause, making the country a risky destination for American travelers. In addition, the cultural and ideological differences between the U.S. and North Korea have further exacerbated the situation, creating an environment where Americans are less than welcomed. So, if you're an American looking to explore new horizons, North Korea might be a place you'd want to think twice about. North Korea, a place where Americans are less than welcomed. Coming in at number 8 is Iran. As we journey through this list, we find ourselves delving into a nation that is steeped in history and culture, yet remains a hotspot for political unrest. The relationship between the United States and Iran has been strained for decades, with the tension often flaring up into outright hostility. The U.S. State Department routinely issues travel advisories for Iran, warning Americans of the risks associated with traveling to this Middle Eastern country. These advisories highlight the potential for arbitrary arrest and detention of U.S. citizens. Furthermore, the absence of diplomatic relations between the two countries means that the U.S. government's ability to assist its citizens in Iran is extremely limited. With the political climate being as volatile as it is, it's no surprise that Iran is considered an unwelcoming destination for Americans. As we move further into the year 2024, the situation remains unchanged. With all the political tensions, Iran is not the most welcoming place for Americans in 2024. Taking the 7th spot on our list is Russia. Now, Russia is a country of tremendous contrasts. It boasts a rich history, breathtaking landscapes, and an extraordinary culture. However, the political climate between Russia and the United States is quite frosty, to put it mildly. Over the past few years, the tensions between these two global giants have been escalating, making the environment a bit unwelcoming for Americans. From the annexation of Crimea to allegations of election meddling, the strained relations have led to numerous travel advisories. The U.S. State Department often urges American citizens to reconsider travel to Russia due to the potential for harassment and unforeseen incidents. Moreover, the language barrier and cultural differences could pose additional challenges for Americans. It's not that the Russian people are inherently unwelcoming, but the geopolitical tensions make things a bit complicated. So Russia is another country where Americans might not feel entirely welcomed. At number 6, we have Syria. Now, Syria is a country rich in history and culture, but the past decade has seen it embroiled in a devastating civil war. This conflict has unfortunately caused widespread destruction and loss of life, making Syria a challenging destination for any traveler. For Americans, the risks are particularly high. The U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Syria, which is the highest warning level. This means do not travel. The advisory highlights the risk of terrorism, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. In addition to the physical dangers, Americans also face potential legal risks. The Syrian government has detained and continues to detain U.S. citizens, often without access to legal or consular services. The ongoing conflict, coupled with the severe travel advisories, makes Syria a daunting destination for most, especially Americans. Given the conflict situation, Syria is understandably not a welcoming place for Americans. Halfway through our list, at number 5, is Somalia. A country positioned on the Horn of Africa, Somalia is known for its long coastline and rich history. However, the nation has been grappling with internal conflict and instability for decades. The security situation here is complex, with various armed groups such as Al-Shabaab posing significant risks. The U.S. State Department has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Somalia, advising Americans not to travel there due to terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. This is the highest level of travel advisory, indicating a very high level of danger. Moreover, the lack of diplomatic presence in the country means that assistance to American citizens could be severely limited. Despite its natural beauty and cultural heritage, the current security situation in Somalia makes it a challenging destination for travelers, especially Americans. So, if you're thinking about your next adventure, Somalia is another country where Americans might want to reconsider their travel plans. At number 4, we have Libya, a country that has endured a tumultuous saga of political instability since the fall of its long-standing leader, Muammar Gaddafi, in 2011. Libya since then has been a hotbed of rival factions vying for power, leading to an environment that's anything but welcoming for foreigners, especially Americans. The U.S. Department of State has issued stern travel advisories for Libya, urging citizens to reconsider any travel plans. The vivid descriptions of civil unrest, crime, terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict paint a stark picture of the risks involved. It's a far cry from the typical vacation spots, where the biggest worry might be a sunburn or a lost passport. But it's not just the tangible threats that make Libya unwelcoming. The deep-seated resentment towards foreign intervention, particularly from the U.S., hangs heavy in the air. This palpable tension makes interactions with locals fraught with unpredictability. Libya, a place where Americans might not find the warmest of welcomes. Stepping into the top 3, we have Afghanistan, a land of rugged mountainous beauty. It's also a place where the shadows of conflict still linger. For decades, Afghanistan has been a theater of warfare and political instability. The scars left by these tumultuous times are still fresh, and the echoes of conflict reverberate through the valleys and over the plains. In the wake of these struggles, the U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Afghanistan, the most severe warning. This advisory strongly discourages American citizens from traveling to the country due to the ongoing security issues, including terrorism, crime, civil unrest, kidnapping, and armed conflict. It's a stark reminder that even in our interconnected world, there are places where safety cannot be guaranteed. And while we hope for a future where such advisories are no longer necessary, for now, Afghanistan remains a country where Americans are advised to avoid. Just missing the top spot at number 2 is Yemen. Nestled in the southwestern corner of the Arabian Peninsula, Yemen's ancient history and breathtaking landscapes are overshadowed by a decade-long civil war, making it a no-go zone for many, especially Americans. The ongoing conflict, which began in 2014, has resulted in a humanitarian crisis, with millions of Yemenis facing dire living conditions. Political instability, sectarian violence, and threats of terrorism are the harsh realities of this war-torn nation. The U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 travel advisory for Yemen, the highest level, urging Americans not to travel there under any circumstances. This advisory, due to the unpredictable security situation, highlights the potential risks of kidnapping, arbitrary arrest, and violence. Despite the country's rich culture and history, the current state of affairs makes Yemen an unwelcoming destination for Americans, and indeed, for most international travelers. Yemen, a country where Americans are not exactly on the guest list. And the country topping our list at number 1 is Iraq. A nation steeped in history, yet marred by ongoing conflict, Iraq is a place where Americans are urged to exercise extreme caution. The U.S. State Department advises against all travel to Iraq, citing terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict as potential risks. Despite the end of major combat operations over a decade ago, the situation remains volatile. The intricate web of political, ethnic, and religious tensions continues to fuel instability, making it a perilous destination for anyone, particularly Americans. The presence of numerous armed groups, each with their own agenda, further complicates matters. Even areas formerly deemed relatively safe, such as the Kurdistan region, have seen an uptick in violence, leading to a heightened security alert. In this tumultuous landscape, Iraq emerges as the country where Americans face the most challenges and risks, making it the least welcoming to them in this year, 2024. Iraq, the country where Americans are least welcomed in 2024. So, there you have it, the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcomed in 2024. We've journeyed from Venezuela to Iraq, crossing through North Korea, Iran, Russia, Syria, Somalia, Libya, Afghanistan, and Yemen. Each of these nations has its unique reasons, from political tensions to social unrest, that make them less than amicable to American visitors. Remember, it's always best to research and understand the political and social climate of a country before making travel plans. Stay safe, everyone.